Let's call the meeting to order.
Give me a few seconds, Fair. Let's the YouTube video starts.
All right.
Okay. So now we're live. Go ahead, please.
All right, let's go with the let's see how many members. Well, they're going to identify themselves in a few minutes. All right, so let's call the meeting to order. So yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Faye Florimon. I'm the chair of the Youth and Education Committee. And for the record, today is Tuesday, October the 12th. And this is meeting number 9, if I'm not mistaken, number 7. Yeah, number 7. Actually, number 8, just for the record. And right now is 7:12 p.m. So welcome, everyone. And for the record, I would like to ask members of this committee to identify themselves for the record, please, again. So just say your name, members, and then we will proceed with the rest of the agenda.
Yeah, I'm going to start myself. My name is Jonathan Framera. I'm also part of this Youth and Education Committee.
Thank you.
Okay, Guillermo Perez, public member of Youth and Education Committee.
Thank you.
Maria Luna, I can't talk too much. I have
Yes.
work on my mouse.
Thank you, Maria. I know it's an effort. Appreciate it. Thank you. Next member.
Good evening, Wendy Peña, a member of the Youth and Education Committee.
Yesenia?
Wendy Peña.
Wendy Peña. Okay. Okay, Wendy Peña. Thank you, Wendy. Next member.
Hey, I'm Michelle Lee. I'm a member of the committee as well.
Thank you, Michelle. Who else? Do we have another member? So far, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with me. Okay, 6. We have quorum. That's a good. All right. So I guess other member will join us later on. Thank you, members, for joining us. This is a very important, meeting, like probably any other, but today in particular, we're going to be discussing important issue pertaining to our committee, and which is highly important for the community as well. So I would like to proceed to go over the our agenda. As you probably already know, which was sent in advance. Today we have 2 presentations. The first presentation is going to be with Genesis, will be provided with Genesis Abreu, who is the program manager from Washington Heights Expeditionary Learning School, also known as WHEELS. They're going to be discussing the matter of youth environmental leadership program. So we're going to learn more about most likely will be like kind of an update, since they already been in our program before. Following that presentation, we're going to have our guest, Ricardo Lopez. He is the outreach coordinator youth of the organization called Youth Action, Youth Build, also known by the acronym YAYB, and he will be discussing the community partnership and streamlining opportunities to the youth. So following these 2 presentations, we're also going to have questions and answers. So anyone that may want to pose a question, definitely that would be the opportunity once they finish their presentation. On each individual presentation, we will be asking questions. So following both presentations, we're going to have our discussion, which is the annual priorities recommendation for the fiscal year 23, which is where we're going to be taking our final vote, and we'll be definitely explaining how the process is going to be unfolding. Following that phase, we're also going to go over old business and new business announcement. So if the public or any one of you have any event coming and you would like to share, that would be the opportunity right in that phase of the agenda to disclose or to share with the community. Remember, this is a public meeting, as Jonathan, or Callie say, this is being also sharing in YouTube, Facebook as well. And nothing following all this, topic that I already share it with you. We're going to have the adjournment of the meeting at whatever time. So hopefully around 9 o'clock or before 9 o'clock. So let's proceed and let's conceal the floor to Genesis Abreu. Do we have Genesis Abreu from Will and on board?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, Genesis.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, so the floor is yours. Share with us whatever you think you want. The entire community and all of us, of course, are eager to know what's going on in Will, especially on the Youth Environmental Leadership Program that you've been, working with for so many years. So thank you, Genesis, once again.
Thank you. I have a small little slide deck if I can share it.
Sure.
No
Jonathan
problem.
can help you though. By the way, members, and allow me just to make a parenthesis. If any one of you want to take some note for our minutes, like anyone who wants to volunteer to take some note from Genesis or from Will, whatever they're going to be saying, and then in the next presentation, anybody else wanted to take some note for, and send it then later on to me. So by all means, do we have a volunteer for Will now?
Yeah, I can do it for Wheel.
And this is
Yeah.
Michelle, right, Michelle? Okay.
Yeah, Grace. I'll have to do bedtime with my baby soon, so I'll do the earlier notes.
All right, wonderful, appreciate it. And who may wants to volunteer for the next presentation? Any volunteer? You just say some note, and of course, I will definitely would follow up and revise it then. Do we have any volunteers for the second presentation? Yes, well, let's see. All right, let's proceed with Genesis. I will repeat that again later on. Yes, Genesis.
I'm
Question
trying
for Genesis.
to share my screen. It's not working.
Are you able to see the screen, share screen button on here?
Yeah, it just says that host has disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, so
Maria,
now
allow me
in 1 second, you are going to be able to do it. Please go ahead now.
Maria has a question.
Yes.
All right.
Great.
All right, so now you're sharing.
Cool. Everyone can see the screen?
Yes.
Yay. All right, so hi everyone. It's a pleasure to be here in community with you all. My name is Genesis or Genesis, born and raised in the Heights. I am the Youth Environmental Leadership Program Manager for Friends of Wheels, and my pronouns are they, them. So I actually work for Friends of Wheels, which is a community organization that was founded by teachers and community leaders from the Washington Heights Expeditionary Learning School, Wheels. And part of the work that we do as an organization is really about dedicating time and resources to amplifying youth and community power by inspiring, guiding, and advocating for youth. And not just the highest performing youth in school, but all youth, to really identify and persist in reaching whatever their college, career, and leadership futures may be. And so I have had the pleasure of being the program manager for the Clean Air Green Corridor work since November of last year. And the Clean Air Green Corridor, and I know some of our students have been here in the past to present about it, is a Black and Brown and youth-led community initiative that's rooted right here in Washington Heights. And it's really working to reimagine the possibilities for all public space. And part of our work is really building and advocating for increased access to beautiful and healthy places where everyone like to live, learn, work, and play. And so what I think is sort of like our theory of change is really about how do we expose young people, especially young people of color in low-income communities, environmental education as part of this ongoing movement of educational equity. And really through that exposure that happens in the classroom, takes that knowledge and really center it in more action. And that's where we kind of enter the youth leadership development component, where part of my work especially is really how do we continue to empower and nurture like youth leaders. And doing so requires that leadership and critical thinking skills building so that our young people of the community can really champion environmental and racial justice in our community of Washington Heights. And through that vehicle of youth leadership really lead to that community transformation, right? Our students and our alumni of the school are really like rethinking like our urban built environment and really reimagining how open and green spaces and even streetscapes can be hubs for building community power, a space for healing, a space for climate change resiliency, and also for grassroots action. And it's a big tradition at Wheels to always open up presentations with like a student quote. And I'm not going to read this whole section, but I think this youth leader, Mayor Ling, who was one of the founding students to create the Cleaner Green Corridor, wrote this beautiful op-ed about like why she does this work. And I think the best thing that she highlights here in this passage is just the big difference between what we see west of Broadway and what we see east of Broadway, right? Our young people are walking every day to school and are noticing crowded sidewalks with trash, noticing a big uptake in syringes all throughout the neighborhood and even in our tree beds, and really noticing the big environmental differences from what we see in like Fort Washington or Cabrini, for example. And I know I don't have to tell folks here in the space, like, what are some of the issues happening in our community of Inwood and Washington Heights, but just to kind of reiterate that, like, as a low-income Latinx and immigrant and Spanish-speaking community, like asthma, diabetes, and cancer rates are very high. And on top of these issues, we know that COVID-19 has only exacerbated those issues and has obviously increased like food and housing insecurity, unemployment, as well as like over-policing, especially of our Black and Brown youth. And so one thing too that our young people are noticing is that it's really hard to breathe in Washington Heights, right? Clean air is such a big and urgent issue. I know that in the 2016 community air survey that was done for each of the communities in New York City, right? Our community was one of the ones highest, right, in the poorest air quality. And to us who live here and go to work here every single day, like this isn't surprising given the fact that we have the George Washington Bridge, the Henry Hudson Parkway, Harlem Drive, and the I-95 that all bring a lot of like substantial car traffic. And so this map just kind of shows, right, like all of the different polluting facilities in our community that impact the health and well-being of our young people and the rest of the community. And so our kind of work is, which is so beautiful, and I get to be a part of it every single day, was really founded, right, by young people back in 2017 who participated in this week-long elective course called Restoring High Bridge that was led by two of our most amazing teachers from the 12th grade, Mr. Eric Espin, who teaches history, and Dr. Jared Fox, who teaches environmental science. And in this class, students learned about the history and importance of green spaces and the neglect and underutilization of High Bridge Park and sort of the systemic barriers to green spaces in the community. And that really energized students. And a lot of them were like, okay, we know what the issues are. So like, what are we going to do about it? And that's where this vision of a cleaner green corridor came about, right? This idea that young people from Wheels and Washington Heights are working to provide and brainstorm, right? Like, how do we provide people in our community safe, healthy, and equitable access to the Harlem River, as well as High Bridge Park, which is our anchor park. And so they're working to connect the dots between like youth leadership, community advocacy, education equity, and climate justice in the Heights. And one thing that students have noticed that like 182nd is home to 5 other schools on 182nd Street. And so they know that this work, although the idea was implanted and bred at Wheels, they know that this work cannot happen if other schools and other young people from the other schools are also on board. Because part of the main focus, right, is this idea that like through youth leadership and community engagement, you know, there is this possibility of building a safe and clean and healthy community by pedestrianizing and growing the green infrastructure of 182nd Street. And ensuring too that students have been very thoughtful about thinking like, how do we do this work in a way that does not continue the ongoing process of gentrification and like displacement in our community. And so from that visioning, like this is just a couple of little renderings that our young people have created on like, what can 182nd Street look like? And so this is a rendering that students worked on this past spring with our partners from Hester Street to sort of create a model of like, well, what could a community and youth plaza look like right in front of Wheels and IS 143. And through this process too, students have looked at, well, what can every street after that look like? So a lot of them have been thinking about, you know, looking at St. Nicholas and Audubon on 182nd Street and thinking about, well, like, how do we transform bus shelters? How do we, you know, there's an abandoned building on 182nd and St. Nicholas. And some of our students thought about, well, why don't we make that into like an environmental justice center for like people to go and like find job opportunities, and thinking too about the impacts of climate change through like flooding and also extreme heat, thinking about ways of incorporating right green infrastructure to remediate some of those issues. Students have also thought about planting more trees and providing more like trash receptors, for example, throughout the blocks. And really also incorporating art, right, as an important piece for civic engagement. And a lot of our students were very much inspired by the Black Lives Matter mural, right, in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, right, that this mural took up a big street in Brooklyn, and just everyday people went and activated the space through different cultural and art programming. And so our young people really see that as something that could happen on 182nd Street. These are just some of the photos of our young people doing the work, right? A lot of them, you know, have now moved from, okay, visioning to actually doing. And so in the just like these last 3 years, like the corridor has really become a hub and inspiration for our youth leaders. And they're working with different community groups, and they've been able to like restore and redesign the school gardens. They've created an indoor plant corridor in the classrooms. They've installed air monitors. They've been able to prepare 17 tree beds and been able to install tree guards. They've mulched some of these tree beds. And they continue to do that youth leadership development work with me and our partners like after school. This is not an exhaustive list, but these have been some really incredible like thought partners and allies in our work so far. And they've been super helpful in sort of us kind of thinking and like navigating, like how do we really make this idea of the Cleaner Green Corridor, not just like a vision, but an actual like plan. And so kind of looking ahead, right, based off the work that we've done, we're really moving forward in like multiple different priorities within the next coming years. The first is really about putting air quality like front and center, right? It's a core environmental justice threat in Washington Heights, right? 7 schools in Washington Heights, for example, are located within 500 feet of a highway, truck route, or other major road. And this proximity has demonstrated like a big link to inhibited lung development, asthma, and cancer. And so the Clean Air Green Corridor is really about a platform for drawing attention to this current public health crisis and for putting urgent solutions into place as we continue to fight for systemic ones. The second, which I'm also super, super excited about that we're hoping to really pilot in 2022, is really not only exposure, but actually like implementing sort of green career pathways for young people to sort of present a powerful opportunity for them to make environmental justice a part of like their potential like career pathways. And so using like STEM education and more like work-based learning opportunities like on the actual corridor. And so we are hoping at least for this in 2022, working with like the Summer Youth Employment Program to offer some of that work-based learning opportunities on the corridor. Kind of the third priority for us is really looking at this like replicable model. It's incredible like what our youth leaders have been able to accomplish since 2017, and realizing that there are other wheels throughout like New York City and other schools throughout Washington Heights. And so for us is thinking too about like how can other schools that have like low-income young people of color, like how does this model become replicable for them? And then the fourth is really this importance about integrating like arts and culture. For us, like arts and culture is important in terms of healing and inspiring change. And so this is what the long-term plan looks like, right? It's about how do we go this Clean Air Green Corridor build, how can it go from like Broadway all the way to Highbridge Park, where students can walk to school safely and enjoy school activities outside. For us, like all young people, regardless of their zip code or social and economic circumstances, should be able to go to school in a healthy and green community. And we know this model is replicable, and we want other young people throughout NYC to learn about our work and to realize that they can do the same in their schools and communities and inspire that change. I was hoping to stay at 15 minutes, but I went over. But thank you so much. And I'm definitely open to any questions.
All right, I think this is really wonderful. Actually, you have giving us more than what I really, were expecting. So I would like to open up the floor for my colleagues, and the way in which we do this is members of the committee actually ask the question first, and then we proceed with the rest of our guests, whoever may want to also to ask any question. And my question will be for last. So members, please raise your hand if you have any question for Genesis, please. Jonathan, do we have, okay, Maria Luna has a question. Yes, Maria.
I just want to ask, what are the plans for the winter times where most of the program is outside, right? So what are you planning to do during the winter when there's snow and there is a bad weather?
Yeah, so we just started our after school program today, actually. And so we have about 10 students showed up today, which was great. And we have like our ongoing stewardship crew. So what that group of students is going to be working on is continuing to do like community street cleanups throughout 182nd Street with myself and Mr. Eric Espin. And through that process, part of our goal is like, how do we continue to make a presence on the block so that like other like street vendors and other folks who live on 182nd Street like know who we are. And so that will be something that's consistent. And when it gets too cold, one thing that we'll be working on is creating sort of a community like needs assessment survey where like our stewardship crew with these youth leaders can go out like in the spring to continue to survey other important stakeholders in the community. Because right now, students have realized we know what students want, but we don't know yet, like, you know, what the co-op building across the street from our building wants. Like, we don't know what the chicharron lady on 182nd and St. Nicholas wants. And so part of the work that we're doing now is like prepping for that, right, to take place so that our community is informed and that they also have a say in like, how can this clean air green corridor also benefit them?
Very good. Thank you. And thank you, Maria, for asking the question. So any other of our members? So we have Michelle. Yes, Michelle, please. And then Wendy.
Hi, so I've been taking notes and this has been super interesting. Genesis has really been nice to hear about. I'm wondering what sort of engagement that you would want from the community board.
Yeah, so one thing that we applied for the Open Streets program this past summer, and our application wasn't denied, but it was put on hold because the Department of Transportation was essentially assessing the impacts of the 181st like busway that was implemented in April of this year. And so they were kind of just getting a sense of like that impact and also the impact it has had on surrounding streets. And so I actually got off the phone with them today, and they're willing to greenlight our Open Streets application for the school block, so 182nd between Amsterdam and Audubon. And I know our principal, Tom, who couldn't be here, definitely has this question, and I want to put it out there to see if you all can help us. We know that parking is a huge issue in Washington Heights. I know a lot of our teachers do commute from far distances, and we also know that on the same block, the co-op building that's across the street from us, I know has some residents that also park. And so I guess what we'd love for the community board is maybe some, I don't know, some best practices or insight on like how to think about the parking situation, because I genuinely cannot wrap my head around it without making people not, you know, happy that parking spaces like are being lost. That's one thing that I'm thinking about. I think another great opportunity for help with the board, and because I know you all are about to do your budget, is also a lot of our students want some of the like infrastructure change, and thinking about like how do we make streetscapes also like learning labs. So using the street as actual education and learning opportunity. So we'd love also the opportunity to like build more outdoor infrastructure for like our classes and our programming with like young people on the actual school block. So I don't know if that's something that could potentially could happen with the support of the community board and this committee.
So yes, Michelle, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I was gonna just to ask like more kind of clarification, and then what would be like the direct, how do you call the US suggestion that we should ask in our budget priority? For example, more funding for outdoor infrastructure. Is that would be the line that we should categorize your request, or you wanted to reshape that request? You know what I'm saying, Michelle, since you are already in conversation with Genesis.
Yeah, I think mine is more of an open question, Faye. I don't have a specific like thought for how to shape this into our budget priorities right now.
Okay, well, one thing is that we can look at the idea that they need more outdoor infrastructure. What I don't know is broad or how we can shape this. And I wanted to actually bring to your attention that even though if tonight we may not come with the actual term, except that we may label as a more funding for, or just create funding for that particular an increase of outdoor infrastructure in the area that she have already, or let's say in District 6, because this is our school District 6. So I'm sure that when the general budget discussion at our board takes place, we can shape that request into, you know, like making that request like structured in a better way. But so far, I don't know if it sounds too general, but I'm sure that with the help of the colleague, we can shape that request. It's what I'm trying to say. Yes.
I think too, and again, if it does fit, like part of the work that we're doing too is also understanding that like young people, especially young people of color, like should be paid for their labor. And so I don't know if there's also a way of like, you know, making sure there's like a full budget for like summer youth employment. I don't know if that's like another avenue that maybe that could be part of the budget.
Well, we may want to consider that building more outdoor infrastructure, looking at the idea that especially young people be considered for the idea of providing employment opportunity for them. That's something that we can definitely work it out. Besides this idea of more outdoor infrastructure, we can also find ways that to mention creating, you know, employment opportunity. So far, this committee has been, or I should say our entitled board, because everything goes, you know, at the end of the day with whatever the board decides to, is that we've been asking for employment opportunity during summer, because what we think is that in summer when kids are out of school is when they need to be occupied in a more, you know, productive, you know, manner. But I think that if we are going to be asking for you to create more employment opportunity during the week, I'm not sure about how to go about that. Since we believe, or we think, I mean, at least personally myself, that we want to see them more getting assistance with after school so they can improve their learning, you know, at school and hopefully, you know, especially high school students to be more, how do you call, better understanding and reinforce their learning so they can and they can be prepared to go to college. So, but yes, summer I can understand that, having and creating that opportunity. And well, let's see how when I presented this, you know, to the executive committee, what they're going to say about the indoor infrastructure. But tonight I'm going to include it as a general statement. So it is going to be reshaped probably at the with the general board. Yes.
Sure.
So let's see who else. I think Wendy. Yes, Wendy's next. Yes, Wendy.
Actually, my question was already asked by Michelle, but I'll just take a few moments to come in. I think this is great. I'm kind of interested in terms of, you said about replicating it, but that's something I can email Genesis. I represent various other schools in District 6, but I can email you, Genesis. But my question is already asked by Michelle on how support you would need from the board.
Wonderful. Thank you, Wendy. Wonderful. Yes, anybody else?
Yes, I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
Well,
yes.
Well, I personally love this kind of initiatives that Genesis and his team has. And I'm wondering, Genesis, what is the strategy you have to engage our youth to be part of this great project?
Yeah, I think what's been so great now that we're in person is that like young people, especially at Wheels, like they're eager to do things because they're just so tired of doing online Zoom classes. And so part of the way that we're trying to build this program is really through like a youth organizing model, where it's like, now that we know what the issues are, like, what are we going to do about it? And I think what's been great is to really like talk with young people and understand, right, these systems of oppression and these different types of social justice issues in our community, and realize that like change like is possible, and that they have a lot more to say and do than sometimes they're allowed to do in the classroom. And so I think our after school program is really about them like kind of owning like who they are as like individual people and agents of change. So I think forming it like that has brought a lot of interest to our students. And then also everybody loves pizza. So we always have pizza in our meetings. And they're great recruiters themselves, right? Because then if they come one day, they'll bring like 2 or 3 friends the next day.
Yeah.
And I think they're their own organizers, like, and that's why I love them.
Yeah. Well, that's very, very important to have this kind of, way of bringing them and make them feel like part of this good project. And also, not only this, but also of following up on them, because sometimes you can make them feel like good in one particular event, but you may have multiple events later, and it's good to bring them back to the next event. The following up is very, very important also.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, thank you.
If anybody else, oh, actually, yes, Ricardo Lopez has a question. Yes, Ricardo, please.
Hi, thank you. Great job, Genesis, by the way. Good. I love what you're doing. I have a question now. So you have a focus on air, which is much needed, of course, right? And then you mentioned green jobs. Do you have is there a focus within green jobs that you're looking to do, or is this like, let's look at the whole umbrella and then let's see how this happens, right? Because green jobs is a very big sector, right? And completely different partners depending who you're talking to at a local and agency level, right? So just wanted to get a little bit background on that, please. Just my wanted to know. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and that's something that we're also still thinking through. I know that the first phase that we're looking at is like, what does like the green jobs look like in terms of like building the corridor, right? So thinking about more like urban ecology types of jobs. We have a really great partnership with the New York Restoration Project, working at like Highbridge Park and also Sherman Creek. And so exposing young people to like forestry, also to STEM in terms of thinking like science. And part of what I'm hoping to do with them in summer of 2022 is kind of continuing to equip them on like urban ecology and forestry as a way of sort of like piloting a sort of like work-based learning opportunity. And then also like farming. So, because we have a school garden, and so like students really like are dying to like grow food in the school garden and like restart the compost system in the school. And I think long-term, like I would love to get like young people into like learning how to do solar installation, for example. And I know there's great like organizations that provide like OSHA training and other types of like solar installation courses. So I think that's something that we'd love to build on, because I am a strong advocate that like everyone should apply to college, but that's not always like right for everyone. And so really looking at like those students who just really love to work with their hands, trying to equip them, right, for what are those jobs, right, that New York City is going to have, especially as we move towards sort of this like just transition of a sustainable cities. But I'd
Great
love
to hear that, Genesis. I actually have a pilot project in a high school in Bushwick, East Williamsburg. So all low-income communities share the same thing if you think about it, right? Besides crime and poverty, it's all the same thing, but just different, of course, communities, right? Different environmental aspects, you name it, right? But and we're all in environmental justice zones, right? So we share all these pockets, right, that lead to funding and all these other things, unfortunately and unfortunately, right? So I would definitely love to talk to you offline and see how we could build with the community board, because I am developing with them pathways. So for example, I have Pratt Institute coming in and they're gonna design what a green roof look like, adding the aquaponics, hydroponic systems, everything within that, to be able to scale and really talk about what does food security look like, right? Rather than, just one aspect of it. Okay, that means that we need the farmers and chefs of tomorrow to know how to work together locally, but we also need a regional concept, right? Because realistically, we don't have enough square footage to grow. And if we're going to try to address green roofs, that's going to take forever, right? So yeah, definitely, I don't want to take no more time, but great things that you're doing. And I would love to talk to you offline to see how we can maybe build together within that. Okay.
Yes, please. I'd love to.
You see, Hennessy?
This is great. I love being here.
You had such a great, presentation. Yes, and thank you, Ricardo Lopez, for for that question. Very interesting. And I hope that from this conversation, hopefully, some new relationship start, emerging as a result of this. Because I think that if we get united, we can make, or we can bring a lot of positive changes in our community. Yes.
Definitely.
So I also wanted, anybody else may have one final, I will take one final question.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's Mariam.
Yes, Miriam.
So Genesis, do you foresee in the future expanding? Because it seemed like everything goes into the Heights and nothing comes past 181st Street, where I'm up at Dykeman. And we would like to see something like that up here as well.
Interesting.
Yeah. Wait, Miss Miriam, are you from Dykeman Houses?
I sure am.
I don't know if you remember me.
I know who you are.
I love that you're here. Yeah, I think so. Part of Friends of Wheels in our strategic plan, we are working towards expanding beyond Wheels. We would love to work in other schools uptown, and that does include Inwood. And so, we've had a lot of success at Wheels, and we want to take this model and apply it to other schools. And so definitely we are looking into that. Obviously, this is like down the pipeline. But for example, our work this summer, my hope is that we're not just working with students from Wheels, but also other like young people throughout Inwood and Washington Heights. So when we start up our work-based learning pilot, I'll definitely send that to you, Miss Miriam, so you can promote with youth at Dykeman.
Okay, because it seems like that, when projects take off, that Dykeman is always excluded.
No, you all have a special place in my heart.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Miriam.
You're welcome.
So now it's my turn. I think I have 2 questions. I know we're running out of time, but here it is. Hennessy, considering, the ambition expansion that your school actually is looking into in the near future, hopefully, I wonder, considering where you are right now, have you thought about moving to another location? Moving your school to another location?
like to moving wheels, you're saying?
Yeah, like moving wheels to another building, because you're growing, and according to, you know, the goals that you have with this program, definitely I think you're eventually going to need like a bigger place where you don't have to necessarily share with another school, but just to have your own building. So I'm wondering if that's something that you may have in, you know, your school may have in mind.
Yeah, I definitely cannot speak to that, but I do hear you. We definitely, it's a pre-K through 12 school, and it's growing every year. So I know space is limited. I know there have been teachers that have spoken about that. But yeah, if there are resources to maybe think about that, and I can definitely relay that to our principal and assistant principals.
Yeah, and even by asking, find out in which way we can possibly, you know, cooperate with you, you know, in case that that's something that they may have in mind. So we would like to, you know, be part of any way in which we can possibly, you know, help you as a
Yeah.
support. So, but I think that looking at the future, the way that, you know, you had expressed tonight, the goals, you know, for your program and all that kind of thing. So I really think I see you like in the biggest, you know, facility and biggest, you know, building, because I know you share with IS 143, and you may not have like such the space that you really would like to have. So, but that's something that I just thought about that. So the other question that I also have is that I noticed that in your list of supporters, regarding elected official, I only noticed that Robert Jackson is the only one in that list. So why exactly is that you have your school has not approached an elected official, or is that you did but they have not responded to you? Because I would like to see more elected official, you know, supporting this cause. This is highly important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know before I started, it was a little difficult to get in contact with the council member's office. But we were able to have a communication with, I believe it was like Allison James before she left, who was like the director of like education and environment. But now part of like our advocacy goals, which is why we started our after school now, is to have and we want to invite Carmen De La Rosa to come and speak. Also have our students like talk to her about our plans and find ways of like collaboration and support. Robert Jackson was just someone that we identified first, like as sort of like a champion, just because of his like long history of like education justice in Uptown. And we have been in like contact with his office for like voter registration, and they were super helpful in like helping us get like a street closure permit like back in August. But yeah, the goal for this year and now with the election coming up is really to build more of a relationship with Carmen De La Rosa.
Wonderful. Well, I well, being that, you know, that she might be next, I really would like more elected official giving the support that the kids needs, you know, because at the end of the day, this is for the entire community, you know, and this is a very positive project in my personal opinion. The very last question that I have is, considering that we have a bunch of community-based organization, per se, non-for-profit organization, that they have the individual budgets and they can partner it, you know, with your project. So if you can single out at least one or two things that you may wanted to share with us, in which way you think that they can help you, you know, with this project, or in any other possible way or agenda that your school may need, or is asking for assistance or need an immediate assistance, what would be that?
Oh, like for other community groups? you're saying?
Yes, like community or like non-for-profit organization, how they can possibly help you.
Yeah, I think what's been helpful so far, one, I'm only one person. and this project has like a lot of moving parts. And so having and collaborating with community partners to be thought partners, right? To like kind of work out ideas has been like super helpful. And then also some groups like actually have like resources. So like I always go back to like the New York Restoration Project. Like when we need compost, like they'll easily like deliver the compost or like lend us their tools when we're doing like stewardship work on the block.
Okay.
So I think for us is like definitely, I love thought partners. I love folks, if you have equipment that you can lend us to do some of that community stewardship work, that's super helpful. And then to be honest, what's our like next goal? Like we have this ambitious goal of like, let's raise $1 million like for this project. Is really that help in like thinking about like capital funding on like how to bring some of those like infrastructure changes that like students have identified like on the block, whether that's like building seating or building shelters for like people, you know, during like big heat waves, for example. So I think those are like some of the ways that we'd love to continue on partnerships and just having allies right in this work, I think has also been super helpful for us, especially as we're thinking like how can other schools and other like community groups that serve young people can also do.
All right. Well, and very last regarding those questions, if it's anything that you, after we finish, this meeting, you wanted to continue via email, you want to follow up and other needs. So just, I wanted to leave this open so you can follow up with me and tell me, more about your needs and also including the idea of expanding, your school and your program well, to see in which way I can possibly those needs. So without any further delay, I just wanted to ask Guillermo, our colleague Guillermo, and I think Ms. Jimenez, they have a question. So Guillermo, you go first and then Ms. Jimenez, so we can conclude this presentation, please.
Yes, I want to congratulate this young leader, for the great job, the great work that she's doing right now in terms of serving our community and working with the youth. But I am really concerned about that the help that she needs, like you mentioned on your first question, about expanding or moving to a biggest location. I believe that now we have a great opportunity with all those big construction, new buildings that are coming in our community. They are supposed to provide a percentage to help the community in terms of location and tenant spaces. And it's when we have the opportunity to ask for any space in one of those buildings to allocate this community organization. And again, get a community room or get an office to have this program set up in one of those buildings. We have one right now almost done at Amsterdam and 181st Street. We have so many construction going on in the community that are using for other purposes to make money and do and raise funds, but not for community service. And I think she must include that as part of the plan to struggle to have a biggest location and something that will be permanent for this program. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Guillermo. Yes, Ms. Jimenez.
Thank you so much for having me this evening. And Hennessy's, again, I want to piggyback and say kudos to all the great work that you've been doing with the youth at Wheels. My name is Maldis Jimenez. I'm a community organizer at Broadway Housing Communities, and I've actually, throughout the summer, we were in conversation with WEAC, and they mentioned, Friends of Wheels and the environmental work that the youth was doing there. So I will definitely be reaching out to you directly. I guess my questions was regards to the Friends of Wheels. Is that just for students that attend Wheel, or is that also available and open to the public? And what are some of the eligibility?
Yeah, so yeah, we're a part of our organization. Like, we have our own strategic plan, and for example, we're changing our name because we believe that all young people should have access to our services. And obviously we'll still be working at Wheels, but that's part of the growth that we're trying to do is provide service to all young people uptown and beyond. And so I know we offer college access and post-secondary possibilities as well. At the moment, our counselors do just work with Wheels. But at least through my program and the youth leadership work that I'm doing, I'm very much everyone should come and join and do this work. So I think, yeah, the youth leadership work through the Clean Air Green Corridor, I will publicly say, is for any young person in our community that wants to get involved.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Jimenez, and Guillermo as well. So I think, yes, at this point, I really wanted to applaud Hennessy. It's been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, please, so you can learn more about our next presentation. So, and one thing that I highly wanted to encourage is everyone, every information that we gather here, people that we meet here, consider the idea of expanding our relationship. I think the next presentation is going to provide us with awesome information about opportunities for youth in our community and any other community as well, but more to come. Ricardo Lopez is going to share with us. So take some note, and by the way, if you wanted to share, in your case, Hennessy, your contact information, so on the chat, wonderful. Same for Ricardo and anyone else. So Ricardo Lopez, the floor is yours, and welcome to our Youth and Education Committee.
Hello, Community Board 12. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. It's hard to top this. Genesis is doing such great work, right? But I will try. My name is Ricardo Lopez. I'm here to represent Youth Build. To give you a little bit of background about me, I have a very diverse background, heavy in sustainability, in food systems, and in how do you reverse engineer to get things done. I come from Sustainable South Bronx years ago. I have a lot of community experience where you see the whole program. I was a contractor for the state for energy efficiency, one or two Latinos in the whole state that do what I do, right? So I have context to this, right? So this is for Youth Build. Youth Build is a nonprofit organization that's been around for almost 50 years at El Barrio on 118th Street, right? And this was a youth-driven organization that started around the time where there was all these buildings burned out, and basically how do the youth repurpose their building in order to make them livable and for us to get somewhere, right? So now I'm here and I'm assisting them in regards to the outreach for our upcoming cohort this month. Putting in mind that our next cohort will start next year, right? Because we have these yearly outreach events. Now, a little bit of background on these opportunities that we have, all right? We have opportunities for youth 17 through 24 that have either dropped out or it's also focused towards reentry youth also, which is a very big need in our communities. And my radius is all of New York City with a focus on Harlem, Uptown, and the South Bronx. So there's a big radius and there's a big need, and that's why I'm here to talk about these opportunities to get the right assistance from the community board and other partners, so we could get as many youth possible there to not only fill the seats up, but talk about, all right, what does doing more look like? And I'll get into that. But in regards to these pathways, right, for reentry and for dropout students, right? We're talking about, we assist them in getting their GED. We pay them to go to school, so they get a stipend to actually go to school, an MTA card, right? So they have transportation, there's no excuses. And depending on the field, we get them certifications, and we pay their internships that ideally lead to streamline these opportunities for them for careers. What careers are we talking about? First is construction. They come out with OSHA, they come out with flaggers, and they come out with up to Building Performance Institute, beginning building science certification, which that's an entry point, not only to construction, right? Because there's a lot of construction happening in our communities. How can the youth take part in this, right? But we were mentioning green jobs. This leads to energy efficiency jobs also, right? With Con Edison and with other for-profit partners, which I also have a network within that, right? That allow women and minority-owned businesses, because I feel that when you're talking about equity, that's a big conversation. But so we have construction pathway. We have a building operators pathway also, right? So we're talking about superintendents, building operators. The great part about these jobs is that a lot of them are from our union jobs, right? And there's right now a lot of retirement going on, right? So this leads to union jobs, this leads to careers, this leads to retirement and security, which is what we need in our communities, right? The third path is culinary pathways. I will be shifting my hat on that also and providing them and helping them build out their culinary pathway. The way that I'm seeing this is, how do we build out the farmers and chefs of tomorrow, and while instilling food justice, to understand the concept of food security and why we're insecure in regards to swamps, right? These and food deserts, right? Because we are usually plagued with both food swamps and deserts, among all these other systematic oppressions happening, right? One of the things that I learned with food or food access, right? I helped bring World Central Kitchen to Brooklyn, right? And I was able to firsthand see, the issues that, Genesis mentioned that were worsened by COVID. And not only that, the food that we have, it all comes from the South Bronx, but that food is not really meant for us or the people in the South Bronx, right? So we need to think about, what does food security look like for us? And that's one of the things that I'm looking to strategize on. So those are the three pathways, right, which I mentioned, that are for students that are dropping out or reentry, right, having issues. We also have another program for graduates and for veterans, right? It's 17 to 24 for the youth, and for veterans is 24 to 28 years old. And this is for a wireless technician position. We teamed up with Silicon Harlem, right? And we know that there's a lot of 5G networks happening and developing, right? The antennas coming up. For a change, we get to be a little bit ahead of the curve, and we get to train the youth in order for them to implement that 5G network within our communities. So these are the four job pathways or outreach for recruitment that we're doing right now. I'm doing an event on the 14th, but I could also provide content links so that way if anybody can't make it, we could get them there right now. So the great part about Youth Build is that the opportunity doesn't end there, right? So this is an influx, right? This is a way that, even though it's not in Community Board 12, we could talk about this networking, right, of resources that we need working together. Not only does this a chance to get youth from Community Board 12 to see something else at their block, right? Usually this is all that they see, and then now they can see something else, network, right? While they're getting their high school diploma, they become AmeriCorps members also, right? So that lends itself for community rehabilitation, right? For beautification projects where we can align with other organizations, right? And schools and community boards strategically and plan this out to maybe help this out, right? Because I see it fair if there's a lot of people from Washington Heights coming into the school here, getting this training, then hey, I would love to pass the information along to Tiffany, right? She handles our community AmeriCorps component. Hey, let's strategize doing something there also, right? Because in a way we have bodies, right? What we need are other tool sets just like Genesis, right? And this is an opportunity to work together. That's the second component, right? That I feel is also very attractive and very powerful, right? To any community board. And then there's the third component, the internship, right? I feel that that could also be an opportunity to team up with small businesses, right? Women and minority owned businesses from the community in these four basically industries, right? We have a culinary industry, right? Farming, right? Depending how it's approached, construction, right? Energy fields, wireless and technology, right? And, and building operators, which is kind of, lends itself to it, right? But this could be the next management company in your community board, right? This could be the next small business that's been there for 50 years that's struggling, right? That, because if we're talking about our community, culture, I feel, is also a big part of the community that we don't want to lose, right? So we want these staples there. And I feel that strategically we could talk about what working together looks like, but we can't talk about step 2 or 3 unless we get those seats in there, and we get these youth, paid. We get them busy right now, and we get them starting in their pathway towards a career. So that is my spiel for Youth Build. Any questions? I'll be more than happy, or concerns, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, Ricardo. Wonderful, wonderful. So I just want to reiterate that, members, you go first, and please raise your hand if you have any questions. I hope you do. And then the whatever guests we have, so they will ask questions. So who has question? Do we have, let's see, who? Jonathan, I cannot see. Let's see if I can move to that one, to the chat. Who raised their hands? Do we have anyone? Let's see.
Yes, I don't see hands up.
Who raised their hands? Her hands?
I don't see anybody. Okay, I did a good job.
Not yet.
Okay, I guess that's self-explained more than anything else. I just wanted to then ask Ricardo. Ricardo, I know you have an event coming pretty soon. So I don't know if you feel up to further elaborating and invite everyone, which I really, really would like for you to give in some more details about that upcoming event, and welcome everyone. If it's possible, it's all right to say that. And if you want to share your contact information, I really would like for people to get your contact information and whatever else you wanted to share with us, please.
Sure, thank you. Yes, I do have a recruitment event coming up on the 14th. It's from 10 o'clock to 3. I'll be more than happy to provide my information, any flyers that are needed to disseminate within the community. And yeah, anybody's welcome. I love to show everybody the space that we have, what we're trying to do. And if you want to reach out to me, outside of this, send an email for any questions or concerns. I'm here. I'm more than available. I'm into, developing communities throughout New York City, right? And this is one of the big opportunities that I feel our community has, especially having these lack of resources to at least start now, right? We need to definitely plan for what's tomorrow, but people are starving, people need things now. And I feel that this is something great that we could start on and then start working to see where this partnership leads to.
Thank you. I see Michelle already raised her hand, but I wanted to say before I conceal the floor to Michelle that think about in the aspect of technical career, because I think this is a great opportunity for kids that are inclined into that area. And think about if any organization that you already work for or you partnered with, maybe you wanted, or even school, of course, maybe you wanted to share that information, about not only the event, but also, about what Ricardo does, because I'm sure that with Ricardo contact information, there might be also another wealth of information. So I guess what I'm saying is not only look at the aspect of what Ricardo is offering us, but also the partners that Ricardo may have as well, and the partners that you have. If we can bring all of them together, we can do wonder, for our community and our kids. So bear that in mind. So yes, thank you, Ricardo, for
I would love to, Faye. I would love to bring any resource that I might have over to Washington Heights, and anything that I can besides youth build. I do know a lot of people, but definitely I'm very respectful. So what does the community board want in the community? And then I'm just there to try to assist, make that happen.
Thank you. I definitely will appreciate that. Well, I am a firm believer and huge advocate when it comes to bringing people together. That's my passion, and this is something that I always consistently exhibit. I love it. I think that when we bring people together, awesome thing can happen, definitely. I really believe in that. Yes. So Michelle, yes, please. Can you, Michelle? I see you raise your hand. Michelle?
I believe I hear her speaking, but it's a little low. I hear something. Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Michelle, yes?
Okay, sorry. Hi, Ricardo. Thank you for your presentation. And I wanted to let you know I'm still taking notes, Faye, or if we want to switch to somebody else, or if the meeting is mostly over.
No, he already finished his presentation, and if you extended, notes, definitely much appreciated, because nobody actually volunteered except you for helping us with the note. It's hard for me that, direct the meeting and take note at the same time. So just so you know, I deeply appreciate it, your gesture, your assistance, yes. And this is going to be actually, I think we can always revise the transcript of this meeting. So, and whatever note you send me, definitely I will adopt it and revise it or whatever needs to be done. But above all, it's much appreciated.
Okay, perfect. And question for Ricardo is how many students are currently engaged and involved in your program, Youth Build?
Well, there is an alumni, right? We have almost 46, 47 years in. So I believe one of the someone's running for council that actually went through the Youth Build program, just to show how powerful it is, right? They are working in regards to their alumni, and once they do graduate from us, we stay track with them for another year to make sure that they're doing good, and then it just goes into the alumni process. But really the thing is here, it's churning bodies, right? Students, the youth into these opportunities, right? We want to get them coming in, and then we want to position them into these careers already, with some money in their pocket, with these certifications that are going to help them out and getting to these jobs.
Okay, sorry, maybe I can clarify, is like how many students do you work with on a yearly basis?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I misunderstood.
No, sorry about that.
So yeah, we take around 20 to 30, depending, right? And then from there, they get funneled through the pathways, depending on what they pick. So the classes could be from 10 people, let's say, that's usually the average. And then just depending on retention and everything else, right? But yeah, usually the classes within the specific focus is around 10, and then we take up to like 30 students.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
We're
So-
looking to take more, of course, right? But we need everything to justify for doing more. But yes, we would be, ideally, we're looking to have a waiting list and then justify to, for example, NYSERDA, right? Because one of these training funds comes from NYSERDA, and they're the New York State Energy and New York State Energy and Research Development Agency. That's a mouthful, right? But they're the energy people for the state, for example, right? And it justifies the numbers. But yes, 30 and 10 per class around average.
Thank you. Thank you. So I guess, Michelle, did you answer your question, or you have any another comments?
Nope, that's really helpful. Thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate you.
Thank you both. Anybody else? Anybody
Yes.
else for Ricardo? Yes?
Yes. Well, this is also another great project, Ricardo. Thank you for having this kind of project for this community, which is really, really in need of this type of initiative. So my question is going to, I don't know if you already mentioned it. If so I'm sorry about it, didn't get it.
All right, I'll go over it
So
again.
how can they reach you out? I mean, do you have like any website or telephones?
Yes.
that you
The
can-
flyers that I would provide, and it has the QR link that takes you straight to the website to give you more information, that sends you straight to the application. So that way we're streamlining this process. So once the student signs up or their parent, we will go ahead and follow up with them to get them registered. If they didn't, if they're going through the pathway that they don't have a degree, then we would get them with going with the tape test to basically get them into the cohort getting started. If they already have their degree, then that's a different pathway that still leads to certification. But the flyers would give you all information. I could also send any other type of other information that's needed. If you want to get more specific or anything, I'll be more than happy to. Right, but I feel that I already have like 5-6 flyers that define the information, kind of some stipulations of what the students might get, right? Little highlights. And if you need anything else, please feel free to reach out. I'll provide my email also alongside with Faye. Anybody could feel free to reach me, and we could take it from there.
Yeah, that would be very important. And do you have any specific requirement to join these teams, or these groups, or
17 to 24, right? 17 to 24 depends the pathway, right? Either you have your high school degree or you don't, right? So if you don't have your diploma, leads you to one pathway and then the other one, right? Now we have different fields, right? And that's all up to the student and what they want, right? But the only, let's say, stipulation, like for example, if they didn't have the diplomas, that they have to pass the tape test, because we need them at least at a 7th grade reading and math level in order to start doing, for example, construction. So those are kind of like the prerequisites to get into the program in order for you to go there. Oh, and you have to be a citizen also, because a lot of the funding is coming from agencies. If it was up to me, as an immigrant in this country, it would not be that way, right? But funding is funding at the end of the day. So unfortunately, those are those stipulations.
That's very good to know. Very good to have a life. Since we should be, repeating some important phrases just like this one.
Yes. And also, as the friendship develops and these partnerships, I know other agencies or other organizations to provide support, whether not mattering whether you're a citizen or not, right? That I feel could be very impactful, not only here, but to the communities and countries that we come from, right? Because this is a global issue, not just a local, but it needs to be addressed locally nonetheless, though.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, so I guess that we don't have nobody else. Thank you, Jonathan, for posing that question, and of course, Ricardo, I see you with your bat. You being tackling every question and giving an answer. I love that.
Thank you.
I wanted you welcome. I also wanted to say that the BOA has been sharing his information, the event information that is coming up with the entitled community, just in case. So when you see Youth Action, Youth Build, or YAYB, this is Ricardo. So just pay close attention to this. And there in the flyer, there is also a lot of information in terms of the website and all that. And if you want to share also with friends and folks, and now that you have more in-depth information as a result of Ricardo, presentation, please share, because anyone that is interested in this kind of event and also to, bring kids so they can get to know more about this, or are inclined to join this kind of, program, please feel free to share that with them. And of course, you can always reach out to me at any question. And if I don't have the answer, of course, I will gonna go back to square one, meaning I go back to Ricardo and ask him. So at this point, so I guess I want to just thank you so much, Ricardo, for your wonderful presentation. We will continue promoting, your program and of course your event. And I personally looking forward to be there with you.
Thank you very much, Fed. Thank you, Community Board 12, for giving me the opportunity. As you can see in the flyer, it has Community Board 11 on it, right? And I'm looking to work with everybody. So I'll be more than happy to talk about a specific recruitment event within Community Board 12 sooner rather than later. So I'm happy always to have these type of conversations. And thank you once again for the support. And I look forward to developing this partnership.
You're welcome. And I want to also to say, just for the record as well, next time that you have your next event, so I want the board to know that you are very interested in having their logo on your event, because this is something that it excludes all communities, and having our board, all the boards on board, I think it would be very helpful to have our community board logos on your on the next activity and any other activity that you wanted to come up with. So this goes on record.
I do agree with you. I always say, solo el pueblo salva el pueblo, right? Only the neighborhood saves its own neighborhood, and there's always power in numbers. And I always feel that it's very powerful having a logo tree behind you, right? Because it shows that we're here together to make this change, and there's nothing more powerful than that. So thank you very much.
You already said it. Thank you so much, Ricardo. Thank you, everyone, and thank my members, my colleagues for asking all these questions and their support. Definitely Michelle for taking notes. I highly appreciate it. So now let's move to the next item. So we're gonna be discussing our annual budget priority recommendation for fiscal year 23. And I wanted to give you some heads up on this, because we're gonna be voting and things that are or needs that are highly important for our community. And I wanted just to share a few thoughts about this thing called budget priority. First of all, this is all about relationship between available fundings and outcomes the community desires. In other words, all we're doing here is we are trying to propose to find actually the funding for the needs that our community have, our folks in our community. And since this is the Youth and Education Committee, most of the item is of course is mirroring the our youth, and is mirroring our school district. So how this process is going to be conducted tonight, like every year. So we're going to be discussing the numbers of priority in our capital and our expensive budgets. Last year, we have in the capital request, we had 13 requests, 13 items. And on the expenses side, we have only 7 items. So we're going to discuss that in detail soon. Now, next, what we're gonna do once we discuss this. So what was the result in the outcome? In other words, when we submitted those requests with the agency that we are requesting those fundings, what was exactly what they said to those requests? Some of them I can tell you in advance that they were granted, others are still pending. And what we're going to do with them, we're going to decide collectively whether or not we want to continue advocating for this item. So after that, we are going to be eliminating which item we're going to take and disregard. We also are going to be, we're going to, let me see, what is the other thing that I wanted to make sure I say? Yeah, what else we're going to I already said it, what we're going to be continue supporting. So then after we have that discussion, we're going to prioritize whatever we decide that we're going to keep supporting. And once we prioritize, then, for example, if we were advocating for, let's say, Canada as our item number 1 last year, and that was granted, we want to know that's not going to be, of course, our priority number 1 is going to be other one, which you're going to learn. So, and once we prioritize them collectively, then we are going to vote. I believe that we have quorum to perform the vote, you know, for this priority. I also wanted to tell you that you are free to suggest any item, any, you know, based on any necessity that you feel that is present in our district. So besides whatever, you know, we had in last year, whatever we decide tonight is as a committee decision, but the community board per se, the entitled board is going to decide on those priority, meaning that if we as a committee, we decide that a particular item we're going to ranking as number 1 priority, the board may say collectively, you know what, no, that's going to be your number 7 item. So you can have, you know, at least an idea what this is, you know, all about. But we must collectively express what is our priority, meaning what we consider it to be so important to us. So let me just start by saying, as I already said, within the expensive last year, we had 7 items. And I wanted to say that the item number 1, which turned out to be 41 for the board, was the need of Wi-Fi services in our district. As you recall, during the pandemic, there was a huge problem with kids trying to getting access, you know, to do their homework, trying to get access to, let's say, to Wi-Fi, you know, so they can do their schoolings, you know. So that item was not granted. What they said is that need further study, meaning that will remain pending. So the next item that we have, remember, this is the expensive that I am going line by line, and I'm going to try to do this very fast. So the next was need for mental programs, providing funding for community-based organizations to help families, to help youth and children in need of mental health assistance and affected by the COVID in our district. This item in particular was moved out of our request and was transferred to the Health and Environment Committee as the request of that committee chair, because that request fall more into the mission of that committee. So we did not appear in our, it was taken out of our request. The next item that we that was ranking as a number 3 priority was the need for iPads and Chromebooks in our district. We request funding, especially for the school PS 128, that they have one of the greatest need for this type of, you know, resources. That was granted. So this year we're not going to be advocating for that. Yes, somebody say something, Maria.
No, it's Maria. Yes, I have a point of information. Is there anyone at the board that can help you to put on their screen the budget items so we can go? Because I think that the new members of the board, that are not familiar with
I
the
can- I can-
process, maybe that will help them to follow what you are explaining.
Okay,
another community-
I can share the request that we had. Let me see, maybe I can share. I'm gonna share the request that that I sent the committee that we voted on it. Jonathan, can I have access to share?
Maybe he can do it like in a screen, split the screen.
Yes,
or something.
that's exactly. So Jonathan, this evening I send you our budget priority, just in case that people wanted to review it before we have this conversation. You can go into the last email that I sent today. That was this evening. Can you?
Yes. Yes, I can share it. I can share it with you guys. Give me a few
Appreciate it.
seconds.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
No
And
problem.
thank you, Maria, for the suggestion. Yeah, so they can see actually, this is our request, so.
Okay, so let me put it here. Everybody can see this.
Yes. Let's see. So I will continue because while Jonathan search for the
Okay.
budget. Oh, here
So I
it is.
guess
The expensive. This is our capital. That would be the second page. Scroll it down.
is it?
Yes, the second page, yes. This is our, yes, this is actually 6, yes. Because Steve, can we enlarge this? Maybe so we can see. Try to see if we can see.
Do you want to make it? Do you want to
bigger,
watch it like this?
more.
That's good. I think we can.
I think everybody can read this.
Okay, this is good.
Thank you.
So thank you, Maria. Yeah, so as you can see, the item on number 2, let's see, wait a minute, what is the, that was for fiscal year 2022. Okay, so
class size reduction.
Yes, but class size, let me see, class size reduction. This was actually, wait a minute. There was some changing at the last minute. I think that, let's see, the iPad, okay. You see the item, let me see, go to the one that I just described it. The item, for example, on number 5, let me see, individualize. Yes, when on item number 5, that's the one that was already approved. So we don't need to go on that. So there are several items in here that I know the board decided to change. Class size reduction, that was already, I think that they changed that. That's and that was transferred to continue support. Individualized, that was granted. Emotional learning, that was also transferred to, let me see, emotional learning, that was also transferred to a Steve committee. That's the one that was, let's see, ELL, hold on, let me see. Mental health, which is number 6, that was transferred to a Steve. And what was the other one? So individualized, let me start from number 1. Individualized was already, that was approved, if I'm not mistaken, yes. Class reduction, I think we've moved that item because we had it like for, I don't know, like forever, like 3 to 5 years consistently. That was removed. Testing led, let me say the testing, that was in the capital, I think, that was moved. Testing led, I know is still pending. And let's see for the social emotional learning. Let's see, hold on. Social and emotional learning. That was granted. So what I see here is that in this, and this is the original request that we submitted, but the answer on this one, the answer that the agency gave us is not necessarily on this. So I just have to tell you exactly what was approved and not approved here. So I can say that item number 1 was approved. Class size reduction, it was moved from this request. I think that is still pending. Testing the lead, I think this is something that also remained pending. And let's see, emotional learning program funding increase for support. I believe, let me see, and the sheet that I have, give me 1 second, after school program, this is this. No, that remain pending. Child care program, where do we have child care program here? It's not here, child care. Provide funding for mental health, that went with number 6, went with Steve, and mental health was with Steve. Okay, so far among these that we have here, I can say that number 5 was approved. Number 4, I believe, was approved as well, but that went to I think it went to Steve. And individualized was also approved. So we've been left with actually only with 3 items. Actually, no, with 2 items, which is the item that we're going to be advocating is after school program increased funding. That they say that needs, we need to contact the agency. And also we need to, the child care program, providing funding for child care funding, that remain also pending. These 2 items remain pending. The others, 2 of them, for example, the iPad was already granted. And the other 2 actually were moved to a Steve committee.
So there should be only number 2. We should consider only number 2 and number 3, right?
Yes. So we only going to consider number 3.
And
yes.
2.
And we're going to consider childcare. Let's see, what is the other one? Is that it's not in there? The childcare programs. Let me see the childcare program. Number 3, definitely we're going to consider number 3.
Okay, so 2 and 3.
In class size, 2 and 3. Yes.
But what would be a number for the child care there? So we can
for the child care, what happened is that they change it.
Oh, so that would be
because the number 3, what the 2 programs that we need to include besides these 2, it will be after school program.
All right, so, but we have to give them a number. Oh, we lost the sound. Faye, we lost this sound, but that will be a continuous support. I don't know. Can anyone hear me?
I hear you.
Okay.
Yes, we
So
can hear
instead
you.
of a number, we can do that as a continuous support because it's from last year and it wasn't funded, wasn't considered for funding. I'm just trying to help Faye with the numbering for ranking. Jonathan, are you there?
Yes, Maria, I'm here.
I mean, maybe you can help Faye, because I am saying that since on the spends, the child support that she's talking about is not listed here. So that should be probably added as a, continuing funding for the expense on the expense budget.
Let me locate the expenses. Are the expenses here on the first page or second page? Not
Yeah,
sure about.
The second page is for the expense. The one that you are moving is for the capital.
Okay, we're here on the second page, and
See, there is no number 7. So
Number
that will be a
7.
continuous support.
number
That
7
would
is
be-
not listed.
Uh-huh.
It's not listed. That means
So
we'll
it
have to
should
add it.
be added back into the expense as a continuous support. We are asking,
Maria, sorry, I don't know why this is happening, Anyway, going back, what maybe if we can get at least copy of the other one, if we can see on the screen, the one that I already sent you before this one. But anyway, maybe it's too late to do that. But let's say that we're going to continue with item number 2 here. We're going to advocate for item number 2, which is class I. We're going to continue for item, let's see.
number 3, I believe you said.
Number 3, yeah, testing the water. Yes, that's very important. So let me take note on this as well. So number 2 and number 3 on this particular list. Now, on the response that we have, which is this list that I have in front of me. So we're going to continue advocating for after school program, increased funding, increased funding for this program in our district, which remain pending. And also we're going to continue advocating for child care programs in our district, of course. And what was the other thing? And to help children develop essential skills like social and emotional and communication skill. So I guess it's going to be 4 expensive items that are all besides whatever we are going to be proposing. Should I repeat that again? Or everybody's on the same page? In other words,
No, Faith, it's clear now. So on the expense budget,
yes,
in order for us to vote and the ranking,
yes,
we should consider the number 2, 3, 4, and the continuous support for the child care. That is the one that we cannot find. That probably was number 7.
Yes, well, in this list that we have in front of us, we only considering number 2, number 3, social and learning, emotional. Let me see, what was the other one that we said, Maria?
No, the number 4.
Number 4, okay, 2, 3, and 4.
Correct.
2, 3, and 4. We definitely going to 2, 3, and 4. But in addition to this 2, 3, and 4, we're going to, this is from the list that we received the answers. We're going to continue advocating for after school programs. So that would be number 5, after school programs for child care, child care programs in our district. To help children develop skills like social, emotional, and communication skills. That would be number 5. So then the next one will be, let me see, after school program. For it's particular for high school.
Right, but that was listed also last year, right?
Yes.
So that will be continued support. Because this is the other one. Right.
Continuous support, correct.
Right, but okay.
So all this is going to be continuous support because we already submitted, correct? But except that number 2, number 3, and number 4, what they say is that further study is needed or they are unable to prioritize this at this time.
Okay.
Meaning that they are still going to be CS, continuous support. We're going to continue advocating for those. So we're gonna have so far 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 plus any additional item that we may wanted to bring. So I personally wanted to propose 3 additional items, new, and consider also what Will has suggested, which I said, which is funding to build more outdoor infrastructure, which I hope the board in general may help us to shape the request. So,
but I believe that will be on the then capital, not expense, because that will require building. That will require building.
Yes, you're correct. This is capital item. Now, this is what I wanted to suggest. Besides the 4 items that we already said that we are going to continue supporting. What I wanted to propose is that we advocate for the funding to expand gifted and talented programs in our district, because we only have one school that have gifted and talented program, which is PS 153. It used to be Mount Hall, but not anymore, because Mount Hall is not elementary school. And gifted and talented program is only for, elementary school. So only PS 153 is the only school that have that program. So I can't conceive the idea that only in our entitled district, only one school may have that program, which, by the way, this is a conversation that we need to bring later on, because we know that the mayor wanted to actually basically cancel this program, or there is some changes that is not clear. But anyway, yes, I wanted to propose that we advocate for more funding to expand gifted and talented program in more elementary school in our district. One single school is not sufficient to me. So I wanted also to propose that funding be allocated to train teachers to recognize and support talented children, because I'm not sure that we have, even if we have sufficient teachers, that they can identify kids who are talented and refer them for those programs. So this is a conversation that is not really, up there commonly. And I wanted to expose that. Yeah, we need funding for teachers so they can train those teachers, so they can identify kids who are talented and hopefully refer them so they can take advantage at early age to be part of those programs.
But I thought that was part of the training to be a teacher, so they can do. That would be an additional.
No. Well, we no, not necessarily, Maria, because we need to make emphasis on that. The same way that we're supposed to have talented program in many other schools, and this is not the case. So this is the same case here. We need to really make echo in the idea that we need funding to train teachers to really go, and start recognizing and supporting talented children. We really need that. This line has to be somewhere in our budget priority. So that would be like my second new request. And the third one for expenses is to allocate more funding to hire more counselors in our school, career counselors. We need more counselors. We already passed resolution on social workers. We already granted that, which the board of president, was very vocal on that, and actually we grant the request was granted. So now we wanted to advocate for funding to hire more counselors, school counselors. We definitely need that for in our district. So I don't know, maybe later on we should even pass a resolution on that. But these are my 3 additional expensive items that I would like to add. So if anybody else wanted to recommend any other item, please say so before we move to the capital and then we proceed with the voting. So Wendy, Median, Michelle, did you would like to propose any expensive item based on the need that we have in our district? You may want to, and if you're not ready, you can also always at the general, hearing, public hearing, you may want it to, you may propose it too.
No, I don't have anything.
All right. So anybody else? Okay. All right. So
Yeah, I'm sorry, Faye. So we are going to, if we add those 3 more items, you are going to have then
gonna have 7.
7.
7 items. Actually, the same number we had last year.
Yeah, but yeah, last, 7, and then what did we get from them? Because it's going to be based not only on our recommendation to the board, but also to the full board.
Yes.
And then downtown. And so, you haven't counted the other items on the Capitol from our committee. It's going to be like almost 20 items on the budget.
No, hold on, Maria, because what we're doing, we treating them separately. Like we already going to ranking now before we move to the Capitol. We're gonna be ranking.
But what I'm saying, Faye, is from our committee, we have for dispenses, these 7 items. And then for the Capitol, we may have maybe 10 or maybe something like that. For the entire Community Board 12 budget, to being considered by the membership, is what I think is, I know that the parts of the committee have a whole lot of items, but I'm just trying to figure out, the logistics and the realistics of our economic situation in the city of New York. But anyway, but that's okay. I will move that we as a committee accept your recommendation to have these 7 items, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's 7, but don't you want it?
Submitted as our, and vote on the ranking for dispense. I just want to, I just want to make it easier.
Yeah.
My motion is that I will support your 7 items as you explain them to us, and then later we're going to have to vote on this thing and then move to the Capitol, unless you want to, you want to vote now for this.
No, I wanted to take the first suggestion. What we're gonna do is, so we vote only once. So what I wanted to do, and thank you for, and I hope the rest accept, this new suggestion. So what I wanted to prioritize I want to prioritize the expensive. So before we move to the Capitol, and then we conclude with the Capitol, we're going to combine all the item that we have prioritized, we had adopted, and then voted, and that's it. So far, like you say, we had 7 items, and we're gonna be ranking. For example, I think I wanted to say that talented and gift programs, let me see where we should consider it. So we may consider it, for example, the after-school program increased funding for our district. Maybe that could be, since this is going to be continuous support, we may want it to rank in this maybe number 1. It's wanted to propose.
No, the continuous support is as an addition to the others, the new
to the other, yes.
Items. The continuous support goes at the bottom.
So
they have no number. They have no numbers. It just says CS.
Exactly. Yeah, but no, in our how do you call, let me see, in our no, actually, well, okay, so this is, no, actually, the city gave this a priority number. I don't have it in front of me, but they gave a priority number. These are not, well, these
Okay,
are not labeled as a continuous support. The
So what
continuous
you're saying
support,
that the number 2, since it has a number already,
yes,
should be moved to CS, continuous support.
it will be moved, yes, it will be moved to CS.
Then numbering the other items.
So then in that case, what we go in, but we still have to consider what would be this priority on this.
Sure,
I think that after school program, definitely maybe we wanted to consider it to be number 1. Child care provide funding could be number 2. Also, let me see. Unless that we wanted to keep the same priority that we have. For example, if we want to consider it class size to be our number 2 and testing again to be our number 3, or we can switch. What do you think?
It's for you. Well, I don't know. No,
All
what
right.
the other members? What are the other members of the committee? I don't want to monopolize this whole thing there. So I think that we have to give the opportunity to the new members to.
Correct.
Okay.
So guys, you're going to say what is on the chart. We already said that we only gonna, and well, the information that you have in front of you, we only gonna be working with item number 2, number 3, and number 4. And this is the ranking that we gave it last year, because some of them already has been approved, but other and the other has been moved to another committee. So we only gonna be focusing on item number 2, number 3, and number 4. Now, what I'm saying is, do we wanted to keep the same ranking order? For example, we wanted to say that class size might be number 1 right now, or might be number 2 priority in our list. So do you think that perhaps testing water compared to class size, which one should be number 1 of these 2 in your opinion?
I would say, this is Mariam, I would say testing the water, put as number 2.
Testing water number 1, you say?
I said, yeah, number 1, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay, what other folks have to say? What do you say, Maria?
That's fine with me. I just
Okay, so Michelle and Jonathan and Wendy, what do you think?
Hey, Faye, are we going to vote separately, or are we just going to agree on it as a group? What is the process for this? I'm a little confused.
Oh, you probably didn't grasp when I explained it. What we are discussing right now is what we are going to be advocating, because some of these items, like you have 6 items in front of you right now. Some of these items already has been approved or has been moved to another committee. So far, the only thing that we have in this charge to work with is item number 2, number 3, and number 4, meaning we're going to be advocating again for these 3 items in addition to the one that I just proposed, which in total is going to be 7 items. Among these 7 items that we are proposing tonight, we wanted to know which one you feel should be number 1 ranking. For example, last year we ranking class size to be our number 2 priority. And testing number 3. Miriam just said that number 3 should be number 1 this year. That would be our first priority. So which number you want to give to number 1, to number 3, and to number 4? Or you may want to consider it the same ranking that has appeared on the chart.
I think it would be helpful. I think, yeah, sorry, I understand the general concept. I think it would be helpful for me if I could see all the options with the new ones that you added as well. Maybe we could put that in a Google sheet. like with the other committee that I'm in, and we can each
No,
take a look at it and vote separately? Or is
No.
that possible?
No, this doesn't go like that. Tonight, these 3 items, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm going to repeat the one that are new that we're going to be adding. So the total and the expensive is going to be 7 items that we are going to be considering tonight. Besides 2, 3, and 4 that you have it in front of you, right? What the new item that I am personally proposing, besides any other item that any one of you would like to suggest, is I'm proposing that expand to get funding or to expand gifted and talented program in our district. In other words, I'm saying that the district should get more funding so they can implement more of this program. Because so far we only have one single school with talented and gifted program. So we need funding for more, so more schools can have that opportunity. That's number one that I am providing new for this year. Number 2, I am proposing to consider funding for trained teachers to recognize and support talented children, because a lot of teachers, they not necessarily are trained to identify kids who have talents. And number three, what I'm proposing is more funding to increase the number of counselors, school counselors in our school. These are the 3 items new that I am proposing, in addition to the 3 that you have in front of you, 2, 3, and 4. Now, having this 7 items that I already explained to you, what we're gonna do right now is which among these 7 should be number 1 in your opinion. Last year, class size was our number 2 priority. Testing the lead and water was number 3. And 4 priority was for social and emotional learning. Now, what would be your priority number 1? Miriam said that that number 3, testing for lead in water, should be number 1. So what do you think?
Okay, so we're each going to say what we think our number 1 is, and then what's the final output? Do we just go with what most people decide?
After we all decide our priority ranking, we're going to do the same process with the capital. And then when we prioritize, then we're going to vote collectively. But tonight we have to vote on what we want and what we don't want, and what would be number 1, number 2, and number 3.
Okay, I think I'm asking how the voting is going to happen.
How the voting is going to happen? Well, let's say that we all agree that testing for lead in water is our number 1 priority. Let's say that a gifting program will be our second priority, and we all going to agree with that. Once we agree, the numbers or the priority numbers that we are going to give to each item, because that's going to happen for each budget, capital budget and expensive budget. When we prioritize all of them, then we're going to vote. Like we're going to say, okay, for example, we already prioritize the expensive budget, that priority number 1 is going to be class size, priority number 2 is going to be testing water, priority number 3 is going to be expanding gift and talented program, priority number 4 is going to be trained teacher, priority number 5 is going to be additional counselor, and so forth. But we all going to agree if this priority, are you comfortable with our priority? Now,
so I have a question, it's Wendy, just to piggy up of Michelle.
Sure.
So we are now individually as board members gonna vote what we want as priority, like just how Miriam said, number 1. So individually, we're gonna give our list of priority, what are we prioritizing, and then voting as a board?
Yes, but
Okay.
let me make this easier for you. I'm gonna tell you what I think should be our priority. I'm gonna rank them right now, and you're gonna tell me if you agree or you disagree. Once we all agree, let's say that I picked testing for lead in water, that I choose this is might be number one, and the rest of them. So you, at the end, when I provide you with this ranking number, you tell me what do you agree or you disagree. So
How many members, voting members do we have on this call?
we have 6, I believe.
Okay. So
Yes.
how many of the numbers, the 6?
We need precise, wait a minute. We have 7 here. Let's see if we have quorum. We have Jonathan, we have Maria, we have Wendy, that's 3. We have Miriam, that's 4. We have Michelle is 5, and we have myself is 6. Let's see who else. Yes, we have quorum. So I
So
propose,
for Michelle and Wendy,
yes,
what we are doing, we are voting as a committee, not as a board.
exactly.
On the 20th, there's going to be a vote of the complete 50 members of the community board voting, ranking the entire 100,000, items on the community board 12, budget. But right now, we are going to only focus on what we have as a committee. That's why I question how many members do we have. So just to make maybe things a little easier, maybe since Jonathan have control of the screen. Anyway, the 3 new items that Faye has planned to add and the removal of some of them, we need to prioritize in number 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on how many votes they all get. I will go along with what Miriam says about testing for lead in water. I will vote that for number 1.
Yes.
I don't know how many of the other members will consider giving that number 1 or number 2 and number 3. I will consider the 3 new items that Faye have listed as the higher the number, I will say the number 4, 5, 6, and 7, because we really didn't discuss those at a committee level during the year. These are new items. So I will hate to give them a higher number 1 or number 2, because although I understand that there is a need to have counselors and teachers that understand our problems, I believe for me, all teachers should be able to be trained before when they become a teacher, to pick and to know which student, which child is a gifted child. They don't have to go to a different class to be trained to see which child within their classroom is a gifted kid. So I wouldn't give that a ranking, a higher ranking, but that's my position.
Okay,
I think
so
the lead is
this is,
safety.
okay, this is what I'm proposing. And before I do that, Michelle and new members, do you have any question before I explain to you or what I share with you, the priority that I am proposing, to see if you agree or disagree? It's normal that you feel confused because this is your first year, and I understand. But remember, what we're doing today, like I say originally, and Maria restated, what we are going to be voting tonight is as a committee. The board will have a last word, the last decision, and we can even increase or decrease whatever number of items we decide to adopt it tonight. Do you have any question before I tell you what are the priorities that I am proposing? Michelle, are you listening to me and Wendy?
I don't think.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, I'm listening as well. No questions. I think we're just and it's a little confusing, and the 3 new items is throwing off as well. Like, I'm a visual person, I don't see it, so I'm listening as much as I can.
All right, let me just read.
Yeah, I agree with Maria to rank the 3 new items lower.
Okay, so all right, let's do this. Do you see the ranking that we have in front of us in yellow? Do we see that?
Yes, okay.
For new
I don't-
members,
I don't see it.
you don't see in the screen the items? No.
The 3 new items that are highlighted are something that we haven't spoken about. These are about bathrooms and security cameras and auditoriums at 128. And we've been talking about testing the water and the counselors. Is this different?
Okay, let me explain. This is what we did last year. That was what we requested last year. You were not here, and that's okay for you to feel a little bit confused. As I said, among these items, some of them already has been approved. Other has been moved to another committee. The only item left that we have is 3, 4, and 5, which remain pending for continuing advocacy purpose. You understand?
Yes, but
in other words, forget about number 2, forget about number 6. The item that we are going to be continuing asking funding for is for 3, 4, and 5, which are in yellow.
5 that are highlighted right now on our screen, which are new bathrooms, security cameras, and auditoriums at 128, or the water and lead, because what's highlighted on the screen right now is very different from the conversation we were having earlier about where Miriam said moving number 1 to the testing of lead in the water.
No, yeah, I don't know what happened. Jonathan, yes, hold on, yes. This is the wait a minute.
That's the wrong one.
No, we're not in capital, Jonathan. We are in expensive, which is the second page. Jonathan, are you with us?
Yeah, he's doing it.
Yes, as you can see, I'm moving to the second page. Right? Yeah,
Okay.
This is here we are.
What happened? Okay, listen, new members. The only item that you need to look at it here is number 2, number 3, and number 4.
Hi, Faye. I think we understand that. I think can we just vote? Or what do we need to do?
Not yet, because I want to make sure, because according to the question that Wendy posted, I want to make sure that it is my job to make sure that you understand what we are doing. You know, so okay, this is what I am proposing now. So item number 3 is going to be our priority number 1. This is what I'm proposing, not what you necessarily have to propose. You agree or you disagree. So on item number, for example, on item number class size reduction, I propose that that's going to be our number 2 priority. And item number 4 is going to be our 3 priority. This is what we're gonna be ranking. Now, on the new item that I propose, like expanding gifted and talented program in our district, let's consider that to be our priority number 4. The other one is training teacher to recognize and support talented children. That will be our priority number 5. And providing funding for additional counselors in our district school will be priority number 6. Now, remember, this additional 3 priority is not written, it's something new that I am proposing, which I invite you, and you have the right to also come up with any other additional suggestion or additional item that you would like to be included in this request. So, what is your thought on this? Do you consider it that item number 3 would be priority number 1?
I do.
Okay.
I will also vote for that.
Yes. So we agree that priority number 2.
Who's writing this down? So we don't have to go back and forth on that.
I'm writing this down. I'm writing this.
So just to make it probably clearer, the testing for lead in water, we are all of us, the number 6 and the 6 members are moving that to number 1. Yes or no? And if, there's only maybe 3 people, 4 people, 2 people, things like that, then we need to consider which one is going to be number 1. Because I think that the new, as I said from the beginning, the 3 new items, we should not consider them as number 1 priority this year, since we already have requested funding and rank some of these things from last year. We need to keep pushing for them.
Okay. So, okay, Maria, give me another priority. Wendy and new members, do you consider it that, are you agree that item number 3 should be number 1 priority for this committee?
Yeah, I agree. Also, can I get an idea, sense of when we'll be able to close the meeting? I actually have to go to sleep soon. This meeting is really running very long.
The sooner your answer is yes or no, that's it, because that's what's been holding us. You guys.
Okay, I'm a yes.
Okay, that's it. If you answer faster, we finish faster. Thank you, Michelle. So Wendy, are you agree with this?
With the testing for water being number 1, number 3 being number 1, yes.
Okay, good. Jonathan.
I also go for it.
Okay, you go for it. Okay, good. So also, our number 2 priority is going to be class size reduction. Yes, everybody, or no?
Yes,
No,
for me.
No,
Yes, for me.
No for me, and I'm going to explain very quickly why. We have advocating for class reduction for a number of years. Since the pandemics, they did reduce the size of the classes.
Okay.
Now, I think that because of the pandemic, the emotional learning program should be moved to number 2, because that combines the needs for the students to be able to learn the emotional crisis that we have due to COVID have impacted really on the students.
What number you suggest, Maria?
That should be a number 2.
I got it. What number you suggest?
I think instead of the number 4, that should be number 2. The social emotional learning program should be number 2 because of the COVID.
So number 4 will be number 2, and then class size would be what? Number 5?
I think the
number
class size should be, well, I don't know how the other things, but the class size reduction should be number 4 or 5, because we've been dealing with that thing forever, and they already assigned a number.
Right. Wendy, should we give then number 5 to class size?
I'm gonna say number 2 should be social emotional learning program.
Okay. All right.
And yeah, class size. For me would say counselors number 3, class size number 4, and then the 2 talented things, the 5 and 6.
Class size, okay. Class
I will agree with that.
So
I agree with Wendy too.
Okay, so water test number 1, class size number 4, right?
Oh, I said lead number 1, social emotional learning number 2, counselors number 3, class size number 4, and then the talented options. I can't remember what the difference between the 2, 5 and 6.
That was too fast for me. So let me recap. Class size number one is the water. Emotional, let me see what it says. Emotional learning program would be number 2, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. And then which one was number 3?
The school counselors. One of the newer ones that you suggest.
A school
Right.
counselor should be number 3. We all agreed on that. Okay. and what would be number 4?
Class
Class
size.
size.
Class
Yeah.
size. Okay. All right. And which would be number 5?
The other two, you can, it's okay.
Okay,
It's
trained
okay,
teacher.
because-
Okay, let's say that a trained teacher would be number 5.
Well,
Trained teacher number 5. We agree. Trained teacher number 5. And counselor number 6.
No, counselor number
5.
five and trained teacher number 6.
Should be the last one.
Okay, counselor number 5. We agree then?
Yes.
And trained teacher number
6.
6.
And that's it.
Done. All right. So we have basically 6 items for our, okay, this is the ranking. Michelle, we getting there. All right. So now let's move to our expenses. So capital budgets. Let's do it as quick as possible. I really want to go back to bed too. All right. So in our capital budget, we have 13 items. So let me just tell you, let's see.
Jonathan, we have to move. Jonathan, please move this thing to the top, please.
Yes. Some of these, okay, let's individualize. Let me wear my glasses. I have to change for better glasses. Okay, so PS 28, what is it at the top? Okay, remodeling, let me see. Okay, number 1, remodeling, okay. Library remodeling, okay, remodeling, that would be item number, let me see, remodeling. Okay, that was unable to prioritize, that was not granted. So that's still pending, and the response that we got, in other words, that was not approved. Item number 1 was not approved. Thank you, Jonathan. So item number 1 is still pending. So science lab, that item, science lab was approved because they already, we have to take out number 2. We're not going to be advocating for that. They already have the funding for that. So number 1 is still pending. Keep that in mind. Now, new bathroom at PS 128, that was not approved. That is still pending. So item number 3 is still pending. Let's see, camera.
But I'm sorry, but I saw that we have agreed or discussed combining everything like from one particular school, like M468, the library and the science lab into one item, and then the PS 128 to another item, and so on. Did we do that before, Faye?
Let's do this faster because I have the answer. Then I already, the material that I sent, then I already work on it and I have the answer. And I just going to verbalize them. So I know, let me just tell you this. For the security camera PS28 that was funded, we don't have to ask for that. That was already granted. So that was actually the only item in our capital that was granted. And besides that one, the other item that was requested, that was funded, was the to create and renovate and upgrade the existing public library at George Washington. Actually, that was out. That was also granted. It was also granted the funding for, let me see, renovate, upgrade. The upgrade of the classroom in George Washington, that actually it's been granted. So what we are going to be asking or continuing support is for bathroom, providing funding for remodeling the bathroom at PS 128. That's going they were not unable to approve that, but that is still pending. So I don't see this here. Let me see the bathroom here on PS 128, because what happened is, as I said before, at the board final decision, you know, a lot of these things were changed. But okay, let's say that we will continue. We're going to be advocating for 10 items according to what I have in front of me, in addition to what Will suggested that they wanted, that they want us to request funding for the infrastructure. So this is what we are going to be, this is what I am proposing. I am proposing that we continue asking funding for bathroom, for new bathroom.
Okay, so that's number 3.
At PS 128.
Okay, so that's number 3.
That's number 3.
Okay, and how about number 4? Security cameras.
No, camera, that was, let me see, that was granted.
Okay, so it's out. Number 5.
No, number
auditorium, 3. The seats.
Okay. Number 3 is pending. Hold on. No, bathroom is pending. Number auditorium is still pending. Number 5 is still pending.
Wait a second. So number 5. Number 5. We need number 5.
5 is still pending. Auditorium seating. Yeah. It's still
number
pending.
6. I'm trying to make it so Michelle can.
Yes. And upgrade exterior lighting is still pending too. So number 5, I will say that number 5, number 6, and number 3 are pending.
Okay, Faye, don't go back. Let's move on further. Okay, so we have 3, 5, and 6. Number 1, 2, and 4 are out. So, Jonathan, can you move up a little? Because I also have another Zoom at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Okay, so let's move up a little. Number 7, the air condition at PS 28.
Air conditioner, yes, that is still, we have to continue support on that.
So, yes. Okay, so we need number 6. Okay, so we need that. Okay, so how about number 8? The PS, the lighting.
Lighting upgrade also needs to continue.
Okay, so how about number 9? Electrical upgrades. So there's too many for 128, but
no,
anyway.
Electrical upgrade, I think, I'm not sure about electrical updates.
Okay, so let's leave it out. Let's leave it out.
Let's go to
number 9.
In classroom, that also was not granted. So let's leave it until 8. That's it. 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And okay. There is another one. I think we have
the number 9.
Jonathan, do you want to move?
It's something similar. One is the lightning, and the other one is electrical upgrade. So that takes care of the whole. The 8 and 9 is one item.
All right. So now we're going to add as a number. The new is going to be funding for more outdoor infrastructure, which is
wait a second. You skip number 10. What happened to number 10?
No, I say that number 10 is out.
Okay, out. 10 is out.
So we only on the list we only have 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8 that we will continue in.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Now let's prioritize them.
So we have more below number 10.
We're supposed to have.
Okay. We move. Air conditioning.
Auditorium funding for auditorium. Okay, yes.
Listen, yes. That air conditioning in the cafeteria have to do with the air conditioning on the entire system, the entire school. Let's leave number 11 out.
Yes, and yes, out. And also
number 12 is out.
Yes, and number 12 as well.
And number 13 is in. Number 13 is in.
The 13, we need number 13.
Okay, number 13 is in. Okay, so here we are. Number 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and
13.
Bingo. Okay, so now.
Plus the new that we're gonna add it up.
How many?
We're gonna add it up only one item, which is Will suggestion. We all suggest that we
the young woman on the 182nd Street, the infrastructure thing.
Yeah, to provide funding to build more outdoor infrastructure.
Okay, good. Okay, so that will be number.
So let's prioritize them. So guys, let's do it 1, 2, 3. All right. Now, should we consider it Will as being new our priority? Let me see.
No.
Hold on.
Sorry.
No, hold on, Maria. Let me think.
Listen, with all due respect to you, issues on George Washington High School, PS 128, PS 28, we have been advocating and pushing for those things for a long time. There are more serious conditions that affect more children than the children on Will. Will is a small group. Okay, Will.
I haven't said anything, Maria. I understand. Just reframe that, please. I got it. I didn't get to finish my thought, Maria.
Oh, okay.
So all I've been asking is, you know, which we should consider our first priority. Now, this is what I wanted to propose to you guys. So let's, since we have this priority number 13, auditorium sound system, that, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So actually we can have the auditorium system to be our 6th priority. I'm going to start from, because we have it at the bottom. Priority, that would be, let me see, give me just 1 second. So now, can we go to number 8? Can we go up, Jonathan, please? So we can you move it up? Okay, leave it right there. Okay, let's say, so operating lighting.
But you see, Faye, the number 6 and the number 8 are almost the same thing. One is the stage lighting that they don't use all the time. And the number 8 is lighting upgrade of stairway. That can be we have to ask to provide some funding for better lighting all around the school facilities, instead of saying one is for the auditorium or for whatever and whatever. Just to make it simple and clearer, I will combine number 6 and number 8 on the one item.
So combine number 6 and number 8.
It's about light. It's about light.
See, but I tried once to combine it and I have to divide it for the same reason. They say that everything has to be specified separately.
I don't think that lighting on the stage is a number, you know, it should be a high priority for the school. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's make this priority number 5.
I don't know what the other people feel, but I wouldn't put that as a priority, you know, high priority.
No, Maria, we're going to combine 6 and 8 if the group, if the group agreed. If the rest of the party agree, we will combine them. And I suggest that this be our priority number 5.
All right.
Okay. Now, on number 5, the auditorium, that could be our, hold on, give me 1 second. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, number 7. Number 7 could be our priority. Let me see, number 4. Number 4, and let me see. Number 6 and number 8 could be our priority. Yeah, okay, 6 and 8 combined would be number 5. 6 and 8, and then priority number 5 can be our number 3. And number 3 could be, wait a minute. Number 3 would be 1, 2, 2. This 2 will be 3, 3, and this will be So Maria,
Uh-huh.
okay, this is what I think. Can we have priority number 3 here? Can we make number 3, number 1? Let me see. Jonathan, can we go smoothly again? I'm sorry.
Where? Number 3?
Number 3. Let's see number 3 so they can see number 3.
Okay.
Yeah, new bathroom at PS 128. That should be number 1 priority. Yeah, number 1 priority. So number 5 should be our priority. Number 2, I suggest. Maria, we wanted to get just, you know. Number 5 will be number 2. And number 6 and 8. Let me see. Wait a minute. Number 3, number 5 is going to be number 2, and then 6 and 8 we are going to combine and make a priority number 3. So number 7 is going to be priority number 4, and number 13 is going to be our priority number 6. You got it, Maria? Are you with me, Maria?
Yes, yes, dear.
5, 6, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 13, and then wheel. Okay, so again, I'm repeating. Number 3 should be priority number 1. Number 5 should be priority number 2. Number 6 and 8 and number 8 should be priority number 3. Number 7 should be priority number 4, and number 13 should be priority number 6.
Correct.
Now, will should be number 7, which is the last one.
Right.
Now, members, we're ready to reinstate what I just say, and then we vote, and happy family. So, Michelle, Wendy, Jonathan, Maria, Miriam, I will repeat for last time so we can go ahead and move to vote.
Yeah, I go ahead and support. I think we should definitely keep wheels, because actually everything else on this list looks like it's just for 120-28, and it would be nice to include advocacy for other schools in the district.
No, wheel should be in. What my position is that since we are talking about the impact on how many hundreds of students in these schools, as opposed to the number of students or young people within wheels that are, 50, 40 or whatever it is, I don't think we can give them a higher priority than the students on PS 128 or 28 or whatever. I think that wheels have a fantastic program, but I think, comparing the numbers and the services that they provide, and I think that, these are PS 128, those are primary schools that are really important to make sure that they are giving the services necessary to our young kids.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm okay with that. I think we should just include it. I think that's
No,
important.
they're gonna be included. They definitely gonna be included, but they also have the opportunity. Remember, this is only as a committee tonight, but we can increase our requests at the general, voting, the board general voting. Yes. So
yeah, and I also I think their program, like for the green space, does impact other and like having the space that they can use in front of their school can impact other schools as well, because there's so many schools along that corridor, as Genesis mentioned during her presentation. So I think definitely include it.
And let me tell you, don't be surprised if other committees decide to adopt that particular request, because that can happen. Park may say, well, we wanted to advocate for this too. So, or any other.
I
Okay.
do have a question because in terms of voting difference between this and the general. So for me, I do have a conflict of interest with PS 128 because my agency has a partnership with that school. So how will that affect my voting? I know in the general, when we do the general, I state the conflict of interest, but in terms of in the committee, how does that affect in terms of what I say for the ranking?
Okay, so you have to abstain from voting on this item due to conflict with your job.
Okay.
Okay, but
So-
you can't vote on the other items. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
But anything that's related to
you specify at the time of voting, so it stays on the record that you are voting on everything except for the item that involve PS 128.
Okay.
Which, that's the only thing you have to say, and that goes on record.
And that goes for in this meeting and in the general?
Yes,
Yeah.
you have to specify everywhere
Yes, thank you.
to be consistent. Okay, so just wanted a final restatement. So our ranking priority for our capital is that we are considering item number 3 to be number 1, item number 5 to be number 2, item number 6 and 8 are going to be combined, and we're going to ranking those as item number, wait a minute, number 3. Yes. So now 6 and 8, number 3, and then we're going to item number 8.
no, 7.
7 is going to be number 4. And item 13 is going to be number 6, and Will is
number 5.
no, item 13, no, number 5. Number 5, yes.
Yes, because then the 13 is going to be number 6, and the Will is not going to be number 8.
Okay, I don't know why I put number 6. Okay, so item 13 is going to be ranking as number 5. So then item number Will is going to be considered item number 6. This ranking, remember,
How about number 13?
Number 13 is what we consider to be number 5.
Okay.
And Will, which is going to be item, let me see, is going to be considered number 6.
Number 6.
So we have, okay, those numbers, like 3, 5, and 6, the actual number, we're going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4, but just for the purpose of identify the item as appear on the screen, that's why we are not counting the number, except that we are locating like number 5, number 6, because this is the given number that appears on the screen. So when you see the chart that I'm going to be submitted, so don't be surprised that number 2, number 3, you only gonna see just the statement, but not the actual number. All right, so I think that everybody's on the same page. So we all agree on the ranking that we have collectively decided, about to decide. So we are on the same page. We agree that this ranking is the number that we all wanted to give to these capital items.
I agree.
Wendy, I'm abstaining from this because it's a conflict of interest for me.
You abstaining only
that.
on PS 128.
Yes.
Right, we understand.
That's why you
that.
need to verbalize it, Wendy.
Yes,
Yeah,
on PS 128, yes.
correct.
Yeah, we understand
All right.
that.
Now, so let's move. Okay. Can we move to the voting procedure for the capital item and spacing item on the ranking order that we as a committee have finally agreed? Maria, can we move?
Okay, no, I move that we accept this recommendation, and then, as we went through, don't go back, please. I need to get up every tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock.
Now going back, so Maria moved.
So I
Okay.
need a second.
Who
I
can
second it.
I
I
second.
second.
Who
In
seconded?
favor?
Mariam.
All right, thank you.
Miriam married. Okay, so those in favor, let me just do roll call because I cannot see. Okay.
And one abstaining due to conflict.
Okay, one
that's
abstaining. So
That's why you're gonna be missing.
can you raise your hand or we just say, let me just go. Michelle, you voting yes or no?
Yes.
Abstain? Yes. Okay, Michelle, Wendy is abstain, is a yes. I mean, I will now put word in your mouth. So Wendy, how are you voting?
I'm abstaining
Abstaining for which item?
for PS 128 items.
But the rest you are?
Yes.
Okay, abstaining only for one PS 120, 128. Okay, Jonathan?
I agree with that last order.
Jonathan,
We
yes.
agree. Yeah, I agree.
Maria, yes, Maria, or no?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Miriam?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, and Faye, yes to all. So we have 6 voting yes, and partially abstain for Wendy. Who else is here that had not vote? We have everybody aboard? Yes. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, the yes has it. The yes has it.
I have a suggestion, Faye, just to clarify.
Yes.
When you submit our ranking, at the bottom, put an asterisk and says that Michelle abstained from voting for PS 128.
Oh, let me share Wendy.
Oh, Wendy, I'm sorry.
Wendy.
Okay, so due to conflict, she's not voting on items related to PS 128.
Very good. Abstain. All right. So just briefly and quickly, I want to thank you very much for bearing, with us. This is really an extensive process and a little bit complex at the beginning, but hopefully next year, and later on as we continue, you will have better understanding. Now, let me just briefly conceal the floor to Meldy, who has an announcement. Meldy Jimenez, are you still with us?
I'm sorry, Faye, I'm sorry, but you know me and my mouth. Guillermo Ali Perez was on the meeting. Did he vote?
He left. No, he left.
Oh, okay.
He left early. He left early.
Anybody out?
No, he left early. He sent me a text. So, Ms. Jimenez, are you still around? Ms. Jimenez, I guess she left already. All right. All I wanted to say then is just to report for the record that the Youth and Police Building Bridges this year was phenomenal. It was great. We had a new band. I really was concerned that I didn't see none of you in there. I don't know what happened, but I really hope that, you consider and, supporting this yearly, initiative. I want to thank the chairman, Eleazar Bueno, who attended the meeting. He spoke at the event. And I also want to publicly thanks all of you, even though many of you did not attend. So, but I hope that you had in your heart supported this important, initiative. So thank you, Maria. I know that you didn't feel actually that well.
And even with my mouth sore tonight, I spoke a lot.
But I definitely appreciate your commitment and at least, coping with us and all this process. So, and also I want to thank the board for sending out the announcement. And I want to thank John Kedis, who actually attended. Gerard also attended. Gerald attended. Who else? Well, if I maybe forget anyone else, I just wanted to say that thank you everyone who supported this event. So at this point, I think I'm ready to adjourn the meeting. It's 9:58. Guys, thank you so much, very much, and we will be in contact. So please just feel free to send me a note or text me and any question that you may have. Michelle, send me your note.
Thanks, Jonathan, for helping us.
And of course,
no problem.
Jonathan.
My pleasure.
Yes. So, Michelle, whenever you can send me the note. Don't worry about it that much. Take whatever time you need. We will need this to submit it just by the sometime next week. You can send me
before the 20th.
Yes, but but I need time also to revise it and everything. Right. So, and thank you to all, our, presenting. So good night, everyone.
Good night, Fred. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, guys.